What is going on today, everybody? It's Buddy here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to remove the headlight housing out of your BMW E90, E92, or E93. So let's jump right into the video. Now the first thing we're going to do is get the front of the car off the ground. Now you don't absolutely need to, but it'll make this job go from a slight pain in the butt to an absolute walk in the park. I'll show you how to do it both ways in case you don't have access to a jack right now, but I highly recommend you getting the front wheels off the ground because it'll make your life a whole lot easier. And an important note, you probably want to crack your lug nuts loose before you get the wheel off the ground.
Be sure to always pull your emergency brake up before jacking up the car.
And also apply wheel chocks to your back tires. If you don't have wheel chocks, a simple 2x4 wedge in the wheel will do the trick. And we're going to go ahead and pull our negative terminal off the battery because we are going to be removing the fog lights. So before we touch anything electrical, it's always good to disconnect your battery.
And now that we got the wheel off the ground, we're going to go ahead and take the lug nuts all the way out of the rim.
And then we're going to pop out our tire and roll it out of the way.
So now coming into our wheel well, we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to have these 8mm bolts we got to remove. One here, coming up a little bit, we're going to have another one here. Coming up a little bit higher, we're going to have another one here. And then we're going to have 1, 2, and 3 we're going to remove. These are all 8mm.
Now we're going to go ahead and remove all those 8mm screws, and you see why now that I took the wheel off. It makes your life a whole lot easier. You're able to see everything. You're able to get your wrenches and your drills in there. It's definitely worth it.
All right, now coming back over to the right a little bit, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this out right here. So you kind of yank this down, grab it behind, and pull this one out. So you're going to want to pull this all the way down because you see this little lip right here. The bumper's not going to be able to pull off if this is in the way. So we're going to go ahead and rip this all the way out. Now coming up a little bit, right where our bumper meets our fender, we're going to have 1 and 2 8mm bolts that need to come out.
So that's all we need to do on the wheel well. I'm going to show you guys how to do it on the other wheel without actually taking off the wheel.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the key in the ignition. We're going to start the car up, and we're going to turn the steering wheel all the way to one side.
Now as you see here, I am able to get all the screws off of the wheel well, even though the wheel's still attached to the car. It's a lot harder to fit your drill in there. It's a lot harder to see everything that's going on, but it is possible. You can see that I have a little bit of room here, even with the tire on, to remove this wheel well. So I'm able to get to those 2 little screws that hold the fender to the front bumper. And you can see it is tight, but I still have just enough room that I can fit a little ratchet in there. Now with this next step, it is still going to be a lot more helpful if the car is actually jacked off the ground. And I'm going to show you exactly why now.
So now that we got the bumper loosened up on both sides, we're going to go under and remove the rest of the screws.
Now there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of screws on the bottom of your bumper. You can see I have a lot of random screw holes. I actually used to have a front lip on here, but I had to take it off here for this video. You're just going to have to look carefully for any screws that hold the bumper onto the bottom of your skid plate. Some are kind of hidden, so be sure to just keep your eye out because if you don't take them all off, then you're not going to be able to pull your bumper off. Now also, this is another reason why I always recommend that you jack the front of the car up when you take off your bumper. You're going to have so much more room to work. When you don't jack it up, you're probably not going to see all the screws, and on top of that, you're going to be squeezing, you're going to be fighting with the car. Like I said, it's definitely worth it to just jack the front of the car up. It makes it a cakewalk. And again, I know there's a lot of screw holes, but your car won't look like this under. Mine does because this car was in an accident. Now this last one I'm taking off here, that is the last one here on the end. So you want to go from that one to the one all the way on the other end.
So now that we got all the little screws out of the bottom of the bumper, we're going to go ahead, pop the hood. And right here under the hood, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 more screws.
Now these 4 screws are T30 screws. T stands for Torx. In case you guys don't know, BMW uses a lot of star bits. Another name for that is Torx. And if you're going to be doing a lot of DIY work on your BMW, you're definitely going to need a Torx set. I'll put a link in the description for a good one that you can grab on Amazon.
And right here under the headlights, we're going to have our little headlight sprayers. Now you can use a plastic pry tool. You see I just use my finger. So you can use either or. You're going to pull this out gently, grab onto it. We're going to grab it right here, and we're going to pull this part up just like that and pop it out.
Now obviously we're going to repeat the process on the other side of the bumper by removing the spring-loaded plate that covers the headlight washer. Now after that, we're going to slowly wiggle the bumper off, and keyword slowly here. there are fog lights still connected by a wiring harness, so you don't want to go ahead and yank it off and risk snapping a wire, but once you get it removed, you just want to place it down gently so we can move on to the next step. Now you're going to have your wiring going to your fog lights. You have two little tabs on each side. Push those in and wiggle it out. Same thing here on the other side. Push it in on both sides, unlocks it, and wiggle it out. Now at this point, you're able to remove the bumper completely away from the car. So now that we got the bumper out of the way, it's time to start working on that headlight housing. Now to start on the headlight housing, we're going to take our T30 again, and we're going to have two screws, one right here, and one right here. Then coming over to the right of our housing, we're going to have this little flap we got to move out of the way, and we have one and two T30 screws. And then coming just right here, we're going to have this hose we're going to disconnect here from our headlight housing bracket. 1, 2, and 3 little clips. Now coming over here to the outside of our headlight housing, we're going to have one more T30 right here. And then coming around this way, we're going to have one more right here. Now at this point, the headlight housing is free to move out of the vehicle. There is no more screws holding it in place, but there is a wiring harness holding it, so don't go ahead and just rip it out because you will damage your electrical. We got to go ahead and pull it out of the socket, and then we're going to start working on the wiring harness in the back. Now you're going to have a bit more wires. This one is held in by a little bracket. We're going to go ahead and twist that out. And this last one is just a little hook. We're going to go ahead and pull that one out. Then we're going to have this little tube running to the housing. We're going to go ahead and pop this out, and then we're going to go ahead and pull it out. Then we're going to have this last wiring harness here. We're going to go ahead and push in both sides. This side was a little tough. And then we're going to push in this side and go ahead and wiggle it out. Now at this point, your headlight housing is free to remove from the vehicle. But wait, first, if you enjoyed this instructional video, I'm going to have to ask you to press the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. But also really quick guys, I just want to show you a quick preview of this video I made on buying and selling a BMW E90 and making a few $1,000s on it. As many of my subscribers know, if you're one of them, I do flip cars for a living full time. I have entire videos on the complete processes that I use on how I make thousands of dollars every month flipping cars. I don't sell this as an instructional course. It's free on my channel, of course. And here's a real short preview of the video. What is going on today, everybody? It's Buddy here. Today, I'm going to show you guys how I took this super ugly, neglected, beat up looking BMW and turned it into thousands of dollars of profit. So I'm mainly a DIY channel, but I have started a segment on how to flip cars. It's what I do for a living full time. So if you want to learn how to get potentially profitable vehicles at low prices, how to fix them up and flip them, make a whole lot of money on the back end, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm going to show you guys the entire process of how I made a few $1,000s off this BMW, from how much I knew I should buy it for, how much I knew I could sell it for, how much money I had to put into it, and ultimately how much profit I made off this. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So if you're interested in learning how to make thousands of dollars in the game of flipping cars, or maybe just a side hustle for extra income, then this video is for you. And this is just one example of my many car flipping videos. They're super informational and a lot of people on YouTube really love them. So they're definitely worth a watch. I'll be sure to throw a link in the description for that video so you guys can check that out.